Class 11th, Subject Physics, 7th chapter, Thermal Properties of Matter. Thermal Properties of Matter. From this chapter, let us see heat transfer. Heat transfer. So we know that heat is one of the forms of energy, and therefore as energy is transferred from one place to another place, so in the similar manner the heat will be transferred from one place to another place, and therefore heat is transferred from one point of body to the another point of the body by three different ways. So there are three different modes or ways by which there will be transfer of heat energy, and these modes are conduction of heat, convection of heat, and radiation of heat. So there are three different modes of transfer of heat energy, ways of transfer of heat energy. These are conduction, convection, and radiation. Now heat transfers through solids by conduction only. So conduction of the heat takes place in case of the solids. On the other hand, liquids and gases are heated by convection, that is, there is transfer of heat energy through liquids and gases by convection of heat. Similarly, the radiation of heat energy takes place by the electromagnetic waves, that is EM waves, in the free space, and that will travel with a speed of 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second. So in this way, the radiation takes place in the form of electromagnetic waves, and therefore it will not require any medium for its propagation or transfer. Now, if you consider this transfer of heat energy, then the radiation is the fastest mode of heat transfer, while the conduction of heat will be the slowest mode of transfer of heat. So of all, radiation is very fast process of transfer of heat. Now from this conduction, convection, and radiation, let us see first what is the conduction of heat energy and how it will take place. So conduction of heat is the process by which heat energy flows from the hot end to the cold end of a solid body without any net movement of the particles of that body. So conduction is the process by which heat flows from the hot end to the cold end of a solid body without any net movement of the particles of that body. That means in case of conduction, heat energy will be transferred from one point to another point, that is from hot point to the cold point through a body, but there will be no actual migration, actual movement of the particles of that body. That is, the particles of that body will never get moved or transferred from one place to another place. Only there will be transfer of energy from one place to another place. So with one example we can explain this conduction of heat as, suppose if you consider any metallic rod. When one end of that metal rod is now placed in a flame, when one end of that metal rod is placed in a flame and the other end is held in our hand, then the end of the rod which is held in our hand gets heated, though it is not directly in contact with the flame. So that end of the rod which is in our hand, it is not in direct contact with the flame, but still due to the conduction of heat energy it will get heated. In this process, the molecules at the hot end, the molecules at the hot end of that rod will receive heat energy and will vibrate faster that with maximum amplitudes. So those molecules of the rod which are actual in contact with the flame will receive maximum amount of heat energy, and therefore as their energy increases it will vibrate with maximum amplitude. As they collide with their slow moving neighbors, so these molecules which are vibrating with maximum amplitude will now collide with their neighboring molecules which are vibrating with smaller amplitude. During this collision, they will transfer some part of their energy to the slow vibrating molecules, and then when it is in turn transfer energy to their neighbors. So during the collisions between these fast vibrating and slow vibrating molecules, the fast vibrating molecules will transfer some part of their energy to the slow vibrating molecules, and in this way the transfer of energy will take place. Then these next neighbors will again vibrate with maximum amplitude by getting the some amount of heat energy from the previous molecules, and then they will collide with their next neighbors, and again during the collision some part of their energy will be given to their neighbors. Thus the energy of thermal motion is transferred by the molecular collisions along the length of the rod, and the transfer of heat continues till the two ends of the rod are at the same temperature. So this process of conduction of heat takes place till the two ends of the rod are at the same temperature. Then the solid substances which conduct heat energy easily are called as good conductors of heat. The solid substances which conduct heat easily are called as good conductors of heat. For example, silver, copper, aluminum, brass, etc. are the good conductors of heat energy. On the other hand, if you consider the substances which do not conduct heat energy easily are called as bad conductors of heat. The substances which do not conduct heat energy easily are called as the bad conductors of heat. For example, wood, then air, then paper, cloth, etc. are the bad conductors of heat. Now the metals are the good conductors of heat. The metals are the good conductors of heat. Similarly, the good conductors of heat are good conductors of electricity, and the bad conductors of heat are the bad conductors of electricity. So good conductors of heat will act as good conductors of electricity, and the bad conductors of heat will act as bad conductors of electricity. And therefore now from this point we will have to study the next point, that is called as the thermal conductivity. Now what is the thermal conductivity of a solid, that we will have to study, and therefore let us see the next point, that is thermal conductivity. Thermal conductivity. So thermal conductivity of a solid is the measure of ability of that solid to conduct heat energy through it. Now how much ability of that conduction of heat is possessed by that material will be called as the thermal conductivity of that material, and therefore it is the measure of ability of the solid to conduct heat energy through it. Now the good conductors of heat have higher thermal conductivity. If you consider the good conductors of heat, they will possess higher thermal conductivity as compared with the bad conductors. Now when the rod is heated, again we will consider the example of that rod. When that rod is heated, then the temperature of every section of the rod is not the same during the conduction of heat. So as soon as the conduction of heat takes place, at that time it is observed that every section of the rod is not having the same temperature or same heat energy, because that end at which directly heat energy is supplied will be at higher temperature and the opposite end of the rod will be at lower temperature, and then the every section of that rod along its length will be having temperature difference. Now this temperature will be larger to those sections of the rod which are close to the hot end. Then the temperature falls towards the cold end, and after some time, due to this conduction process, a stage will be reached at which all the sections will be having their constant temperature. So first of all, as soon as the conduction of heat energy takes place from hot end to cold end, the thermal energy will be transferred from hot end to cold end, and therefore the sections of the rod towards the cold end will get heated. Now this heating process will go on for some time, and after that all the sections of that rod will show constant temperature, but all the sections will not be having same temperature, but they will show constant temperature. There will be no further increase in their temperature, and hence the fall of temperature with distance between the ends of the rod in the direction of flow of heat is called as temperature gradient. The fall of temperature with distance between the ends of the rod in the direction of flow of heat is called as temperature gradient, and that temperature gradient will be given as temperature gradient equal to, this will be the difference in the temperature of the two ends, that is T1 minus T2 upon X. T1 minus T2 upon X, where T1 will represent temperature of the hot end, then T2 will represent temperature of cold end, and X is the length of that rod between these two temperature sections. X is the length of the rod. So in this way, temperature gradient will be given. It will be measured in terms of degree Celsius per meter, or degree Celsius, instead of that Kelvin per meter. So that will be the temperature gradient. And now let us see the next point, that is coefficient of thermal conductivity. Now in order to explain this coefficient of thermal conductivity, let us consider a cube having its two opposite faces having their temperatures and T1 and T2. So this surface of this cube is having its temperature T1, the opposite surface is having its temperature T2, such that T1 is greater than T2. So for this first phase, temperature will be larger as compared with the second phase. Then there will be transfer of heat energy from one place to another place, that is from one surface to another surface, which are separated by a distance x. Then let Q be the amount of heat energy transferred from T1 to T2, that is from surface 1 to surface 2 in time T. In time T, there will be transfer of Q amount of heat energy from first surface to its opposite surface, and therefore we have considered here a cube of each side having its length equal to x, and let A be the area of cross section of each surface. So A will be the area of cross section of this each surface for this. Then if we consider this, then again let the opposite faces are maintained at the temperatures T1 and T2, such that T1 is greater than T2. Now under steady state condition, that means when the temperature of both the surfaces remains constant, that is called as steady state. So under steady state condition, the quantity of heat Q flowing from hot phase to the cold phase quantity of heat Q flowing from hot phase to cold phase is directly proportional to, first point, it is directly proportional to cross-sectional area of the surface, cross-sectional area of that phase, that is Q is proportional to A. Q is proportional to A. Second point, that quantity of heat flowing Q will be proportional to the temperature difference, that is T1 minus T2 between the two surfaces. Again, that quantity of energy Q will be directly proportional to the time for which that heat is transferred from one phase to another place. Then fourth point, that quantity Q will be inversely proportional to the perpendicular distance between these two phases. So from this it is clear that Q is directly proportional to A, Q is directly proportional to T1 minus T2, Q is directly proportional to time T, and Q is inversely proportional to perpendicular distance between the two phases, that is X. Then combining all these four statements, we can write Q proportional to A T1 minus T2 into T upon X, A into T1 minus T2 into T upon X. Removing this proportionality sign, we can write Q is equal to Ka into T1 minus T2 into T upon X, where this K is constant of proportionality, which is called as the coefficient of thermal conductivity. K is called as coefficient of thermal conductivity, and therefore that K will be given as K equal to Qx. This K will be equal to Qx upon this A into T1 minus T2 into T. So Qx upon A into T1 minus T2 into T will give us this coefficient of thermal conductivity. So if you consider this formula, then from this formula, if we put the values as, so if you consider here, area of cross section A is equal to unity, that is 1 meter square. Temperature difference between the two phases is unity, that is 1 degree Celsius, that is T1 minus T2 equal to 1 degree Celsius, and T is equal to 1 second. T is equal to 1 second, as well as X is equal to 1 meter, that is perpendicular distance between the two phases equal to 1 meter. Then, so in this formula, if X equal to 1, A equal to 1, T1 minus T2 equal to 1 and T equal to 1, then K will be equal to Q, then K is equal to Q. And therefore, by considering this condition, that is X equal to 1, A equal to 1, T1 minus T2 equal to 1 and T is equal to 1, the coefficient of thermal conductivity of the material is defined as, definition of that K will be given as, the coefficient of thermal conductivity of the material is defined as the quantity of heat that flows in 1 second between the two opposite faces of a cube of side 1 meter and the faces being kept at a temperature difference of 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin. The coefficient of thermal conductivity of a material is defined as the quantity of heat that flows in 1 second between the two opposite faces of the cube of side 1 meter and the faces being kept at a temperature difference of 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin. That means for this cube, we can say that the area of each face will be equal to 1 meter square. Then temperature difference between these two faces is 1 degree Celsius. Similarly, time taken to travel that Q amount of heat from one face to another place is equal to 1 second, and each side of this cube, that is X is equal to 1 meter, then K is equal to Q. Now the SI unit of K, from this formula we will get SI unit of K is joule per second meter degree Celsius, joule per second meter degree Celsius. It can also be written as joule, then -1 in S, -1 in M, -1 in degree Celsius, or joule per second meter Kelvin, joule per second meter Kelvin, or it is also written as joule S raised to -1, then M raised to -1, K raised to -1. And the dimensions of coefficient of thermal conductivity K will be equal to 1 in length, 1 in mass, -3 in time, -1 in K. 1 in length, 1 in mass, -3 in time, -1 in K. Now from this we can find the rate of heat flow, that is heat flow per second, heat flow per second, and therefore the rate of flow of heat, that is heat flow per second, is given as Q by T. So in this formula Q is there, so Q upon this T, Q upon this T will be the heat flow per second, and that will be given as Q by T equal to Ka into T1 minus T2 upon X, Ka into T1 minus T2 upon X. And so that the SI unit of K from this formula will be watt per meter degree Celsius, watt per meter degree Celsius, because joule per second, that will give us watt, and then it will be again written as watt per meter Kelvin, watt per meter Kelvin. So this will be the heat flow per second. Now from this equation again we can write, above equation will be written as, this Q by T will be written as dQ by dt, that is rate of flow of heat energy, dQ by dt will be equal to minus Ka dt by dx, minus Ka dt by dx. So in this case dt by dx is the temperature gradient, it is the temperature gradient dt by dx. Negative sign will only indicate that there will be fall of temperature and so on. Therefore minus Ka dt by dx will represent dq by dt. Now again from this formula, if A is equal to 1 meter square, A is unity, that is 1 meter square, dt by dx, that is temperature gradient, is unity, that is 1 degree Celsius per meter, dt by dx equal to 1, then we will get dq by dt equal to K, dq by dt equal to K. So from this formula, if you consider only the magnitude, then if A is equal to 1, dt by dx equal to 1, then dq by dt will be equal to K, and therefore we can define the coefficient of thermal conductivity alternately. So it will be defined as, the coefficient of thermal conductivity of a material is defined as the rate of flow of heat per unit area per unit temperature gradient when heat flow is at right angle to the faces of a thin parallel sided slab of material. So from this formula, if dq by dt is equal to Ka dt by dx, then K will be equal to dq by dt upon A dt by dx, dq by dt upon A dt by dx, and therefore the coefficient of thermal conductivity from this formula will be defined as, it is defined as the rate of flow of heat per unit area, the rate of flow of heat per unit area per unit temperature gradient when the heat flow is at right angle to the faces of a thin parallel sided slab of material. So this will be regarding the coefficient of thermal conductivity.